I really hope this doesn't end the close championship battle we've been having all year so far, but I have a really bad sense it will.
Hamilton, against the odds, has come home to win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. What a victory for Lewis Hamilton.
Well, looks like I was wrong. So we just had the Brazilian Grand Prix, and what a race that was. The battle for the lead by Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. What happened on the sprint race, with Hamilton starting 20th and going from last place to P5. That was an absolute miracle drive by him. Sure, he has a new engine, but at the same time, to get through traffic in that short amount of time is actually amazing. And with that engine penalty promoting him down to P10 for Sunday's race and going from P10 to first place, it's like performances like this that shows you he's, why people consider him as one of the greatest of all time. Like, I feel like people don't really think of him as the greatest because, he's had the best car, but if you're going to have the best car, you need to not make mistakes. You need to always be at your best, and which Lewis has been showing for a long, long time. And I think today was perhaps one of his best drives yet. Now, speaking about the battle for the lead, I was watching the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen, as Hamilton closed it down. And the first attempt, when Hamilton tried to overtake Verstappen down to turn 4, Hamilton was ahead. But then I feel like Verstappen did run off wide and almost caused a collision between both of them. Now, there's been a trend with this year's sprint races that, every time there's been a sprint race weekend, for Sunday's race, Hamilton and Verstappen, they always collide into each other. We almost had that, but Hamilton, avoided the accident. But at first, I thought it was a racing incident. But then when I looked at it again, I saw that, Verstappen didn't really turn into the corner, into the apex. And plus, he made himself run wide as well. And the thing that's, became really suspicious is that when they showed Verstappen's onboard, as soon as he gets to turn 4, it cuts to his rear camera showing the engine cover, which, well, we don't know if Verstappen actually turned into Lewis, you know what I mean? Like, it seems quite suspicious. Hamilton, luckily enough, avoided the accident, but he almost, he corrected the oversteer because, he went off the runoff area. But, yeah, I feel like Verstappen got quite lucky, he got quite lucky with not getting a penalty. But then I feel like a few laps later, Hamilton was able to get the time back and then, overtake Verstappen and take the lead. And after that, I feel like Verstappen was just dropping off at that point. It was more of a damage limitation. And, even though he came second, he's still leading the championship. But I feel like, the Mercedes were very good this weekend. And if the race was like 2 laps more, Bottas would have catched up to Verstappen to claim second. So, yeah. Now, because of Hamilton winning the race, the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen in the standings has gone from 20 to 14 points. And I've done some calculation. If Hamilton wins the next 2 races in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and Verstappen comes P2 on those 2 races as well, and if you exclude the fastest lap, they'll both be tied on 368 points when they get to the final race in Abu Dhabi. That's going to be very mad because, well, at that point in Abu Dhabi, it'll literally be about who's going to score the most points in that race. And that's why both Mercedes and Red Bull have been saying that every single point counts for this championship because, let's say, for example, the fastest lap, like whoever gets the fastest lap in the next 2 races, and, if Hamilton, wins the next 2 races and Verstappen comes second, if one of them gets the fastest lap, they could, one of them will be leading the championship when they get to Abu Dhabi by 1 point, Hence why you've seen Valtteri Bottas steal the fastest lap from Verstappen whenever he gets the fastest lap, or Sergio Perez when Lewis Hamilton gets the fastest lap. Now, speaking about teams, Mercedes is still leading the constructors by 11 points, but I'm guessing that's got to do with the fact that Mercedes had a very strong package this weekend. Like, they were very, very fast, especially around the high-speed corners and straights. Red Bull seemed to struggle quite a lot. I think for the first lap, it was pretty much a Red Bull 1-2, but then over time, Valtteri Bottas was able to catch Perez, and then, Hamilton, of course, got Verstappen. It would have possibly been a Mercedes 1-2 if the race was 2 laps longer. It is what it is. And I have to also mention Ferrari, who have now got a 31-point advantage over McLaren in the constructors. which really shows their consistency throughout the last few races, you know, always being in the top 10. I feel like Charles and Carlos Sainz have really done well in the SF21, you know. Seems to be doing well for them. And with McLaren, I feel like these first lap instances with, you know, Ricciardo locking up and hitting Bottas in Mexico, and with Lando Norris going for a gap with Carlos Sainz in the first lap and getting a tyre puncture, have really cost them good points, you know. But I got to condemn Lando. He went down to P20 at the end of lap 1 and went back to P10. It was a strong drive from him, but I feel like at this point of the season, Ferrari are beginning to get their form back, and, you know, P3 in the Constructors is quite crucial for them, especially what happened last year with them finishing 6th. But, you know, I feel like it's going to be a good fight between them and McLaren. So that is pretty much it for the race review. The main talking points being Hamilton and Verstappen battling for the lead, and how Lewis performed a mega drive going from last to first, which will be known as one of his best drives yet. I've also heard people mentioning how Ayrton Senna was with Lewis spiritually, hence why he did so well during the weekend. But yeah, now we go to Qatar, and it's going to be exciting during the last few races who's going to come out on top. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Good night.